Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got an interesting story from the comic books front, and this is a post, but this was made by Rob Liefeld, and it is a commentary on the entitlement of youth today. I like to call this group that is neither millennials nor zoomers, or maybe they're a little bit of both and in between, Generation E, and it stands for Generation Entitlement. So you may know Rob Liefeld. He's a, obscure comic book author who created these characters that nobody really knows, like Deadpool, Cable, and X-Force. I loved me some X-Force when I was young. All right, so what does Rob Liefeld have to say on the next generation, the ones that would be taking over the reins from comic book creators such as himself? The next gen, gotta be honest, had to cut ties with a number of new talent this past spring and summer. Several of these, the work will never see the light of day. I'm having it redone. The connective tissue is the age. These are individuals who are of an age between millennials and Gen Z. The talents I let go are terrible with directions. They love to argue and they have zero accountability. No matter how polite I share, I write every exchange as it would be shared in public. The reactions are all a style and manner that I have not encountered before. I go out of my way to give the benefit of the doubt, spoon feed the info and directions, but the snap and deflection is unlike anything I've encountered in 36 years. I've had a great track record breaking all manner of talents over 3 decades, but man, this is a whole new era, and I'm learning that I don't have the patience for the petulant behavior. Add to the fact that I pay top rates, I'm not looking for bargains. Makes me wonder what will become of the industry over the next decade. I've been really fortunate to work with so many great talents over the course of my career, but this is a whole new era that has a different standard of the dread entitlement. I think Rob Liefeld nails it. A part of this generation, this woke generation that we've encountered, that comes out of university knowing everything, when most people come out of university really realizing that they don't know a fucking thing. These people, this group of people, this Gen E, are just a little bit hard to swallow. They come out and they want to know, after they've been hired, why they weren't hired to be CEO. They are people that have absolutely zero fucking skills and zero experience, but they don't understand why they are not being hired in as some sort of management. I should be a project manager, even though I've never even drawn or authored a comic book before, not in a professional capacity, not for a professional comic book, industry, a corporation in the comic book industry. And on it goes. I just love the fact that he points out that these people are terrible with directions. I have experienced this myself at just no end of giving people the exact details and then having it not come back correctly. They love to argue and they have zero accountability. Yeah, this is another popular thing that we see with this group, and for whatever reason, they do love to debate everything and they don't want to take responsibility for anything. They are generation victim along with generation entitlement. Literally everything is somebody else's fault or something else's fault. It's definitely not their fault, and their actions aren't even their fault. Somebody else is definitely to blame, it's just not them. Who? We don't know, but it's not them. I love the fact that he points out, that the reactions, the style and manner are something that he hasn't encountered before. Like, again, it's just dealing with these people who come in and think, look at me, I'm a big shit, I'm the big shit, and you need to fucking bend over backwards. You should just be happy that I'm here. I've blessed you with my presence. I don't know how these people come out of university with a head so large, you'd think they'd all be running around without any shirts on, because how the hell can they fit a t-shirt over that noggin? That's how big their ego is. And yet it seems to be happening. So there was actually a follow-up tweet to this by Rob Liefeld, and I wanted to share that as well, just to kind of give this guy some street cred like he needs it. But since my posts are being shared, I'll share my follow-up myself. Here's the next post I made. Opportunity/mentorship. I've had a great pleasure to either mentor or provide mentorship to generations of talent. I have provided dozens of talents their first break in this amazing comics business. A DC editor I don't even like pulled me aside at San Diego Comic-Con in the early 2000s and said, "You produced not only great talent at Extreme Studios, but damn if you didn't instill in them responsibility and the importance of deadlines. All your alumni hit their marks." It remains the compliment I value highest among the rest. I was 24 years old when I opened Extreme, a kid leading kids. I had plenty of flaws, but the results with these amazing talents speak for themselves. When I talk of talent and launching talent, I know what I'm talking about. And then he lists a bunch of names. It goes on. I brought in veterans like Art Tibbert and Dan Panosian to give further guidance and mentorship, just as I had received from Jim Valentino. Mentorship cannot be understated, and I have to agree with that there. As someone who has worked in the corporate world, I can say that just throwing people out there and the whole trial by fire thing, just something that's not my favorite. I've experienced it myself, and I would much rather have the mentorship of someone so that I can simply ask questions, ask for guidance when needed, and then turn me loose. Let me ask questions of someone who has knowledge, and then let me find my own way based on the information that I'm given. This is literally the way all jobs used to work. Like, you literally had anyone who was starting a new career back in the early portions of this country, when our country was first being birthed. It was popular to have apprenticeship. So usually at a young age, something like 10, 11, or 12 years old, you would start an apprenticeship somewhere with someone, and you would learn a trade. And you had a mentor, and you learned from that mentor. They taught you, and then you became skilled in your own right, and you taught the next generation. But I digress. In the 2000s, I continued to break new names, giving these talents their highest profile work and recognition right at the outset. So it goes on. Let's finish this up real quick. Still smooth sailing up until the last couple of years, as I stated previously. Now it's a whole new ball game. A couple real good eggs I just helped cook up into their big first mainstream breaks on Profit Remastered #1. Guys with hustle and no entitlement. Hoping for more great talent along the way, but no time for drama. The ones that came before have crucial experience to share. And that really sums it up nicely. I get that when you graduate from high school, you realize that you know everything, and then you go to university and you realize that you don't know a fucking thing. And it should be the same when you come out of university and you get into the corporate world. You should realize that you were basically just tested to make sure that you were able to learn and that you weren't, a complete idiot, I guess. I would think that that's what universities should be doing. It should be weeding out people who have the inability to learn, who have the inability to take responsibility. But it doesn't seem like that's what they value anymore in university. This is just more of the fail up. And now they're passing on people who are absolutely incompetent into the corporate world. And this is definitely not going to backfire hugely on anyone. All right. And then rounding out the story, we have this little addendum here, which sort of highlights Rob's comments exactly. From Andrew Bader, it's funny as hell that at Rob Liefeld still can't draw feet, but posts about how young people can't follow directions. I'm instructing 1990s Rob Liefeld to learn to draw feet and not just muscles, guns, and breasts. So the first comment, which I think is 100% on point, you made his point. The next one, that's the exact type of deflection Rob was talking about in his Absolutely true statement that made you, basically you just made several points, right? Andrew. Robert Liefeld is the creator of Deadpool, Cable, Prophet, Domino, Supreme, Shaft, to name a few. The man is a rock star, and to be honest, makes a very good point. What's with everyone and still talking about the feet? Andrew, ad hominem argument. Yes, perfect. I love it when people do this. Yes, it is an ad hominem. It's basically a personal attack. Whereas Rob Liefeld's being, I think, professional, and he's talking about people's behaviors, and he's talking about how they work and how they function. This person, the best they could do is, you can't draw feet. Give me a reason to consider why if he's wrong. Going after the feet thing doesn't make a case, it just reveals that you likely don't have one. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, that's a bad take, man. Aside from being a great artist, he developed iconic characters. Dear Andrew, it's amazing how after all this time, the only thing anyone can say negatively about Rob's work has to do with feet. We all know how much feet play into the storyline of a book so vitally important. That's sarcasm in case you missed it. Smacks of jealousy. Okay, so just a few awesome takedowns, but it gets even better. Andrew gets schooled by the man himself, and I wanted to finish with this. Try having my badass career and then talk shit, Junior. Okay, so let's leave it there. So that is Generation E. What do you think? Have you had these interactions with the Generation E group? With this group of people who knows everything and feels entitled to everything and doesn't feel that they need to accept responsibility for anything because everything is somebody else's fault. Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, if you want to keep smashing the narrative, smash the like, subscribe, and share buttons, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.